Strong, strong families, yeah. Good friends. Strong families.
Hello and welcome to Good Friends, Strong Families, the podcast where every episode equips you with a new skill, surrounds you with support, and provides actionable steps you can immediately implement in your family life. I'm Angela, and with me today is the fantastic Anna. Hello, Anna.
Hello, hello.
So we're diving into something super important for all families today. This topic that we're talking about is problem solving, which I think is really great for people, and win-win negotiation. So these aren't just, fancy, whatever words. I actually call these our secret superpowers for getting things done in our house. And hopefully it helps to keep family life smooth, happy, no matter who your kids are. Maybe not always happy. So,
Yeah.
But it's helpful. It's better.
Absolutely. These skills are all about making sure that everyone in the family gets along, that they feel listened to, and that the problems get solved in a way that everyone can live with.
I mean, yeah. Or I was going to say and they're happy with, but maybe not all of us will always be happy. But it's better. Anyway.
Yeah. And they're not just for sorting out the big arguments. They're for the everyday stuff too, like figuring out who gets to use the TV when or how to share chores and responsibilities.
Yeah. So one of the things that we're going to talk about today is how using this set of tools sort of together can be really big lifesavers when you've got ups and downs in your family, when you've got challenges, which is like literally every family. So it could be something like you use it for sorting out those squabbles between kids, or if you have teens, you can use these skills to help them figure out why certain rules are in place, that type of thing.
Yeah, it's not just about fixing things when they go wrong. You can use these skills to prevent a lot of arguments before they even start.
Oh, I like that.
We're about teaching your kids, whether they're little or almost adults, how to talk things out and come to an agreement that everyone can live with.
No, I think that's a great idea. So today what we're going to do is we're going to break these down into some manageable steps, and then we're going to share some real life examples. So friends, we'll just tell you, we're actually going to give you 7 steps. And we know if you're listening and you're driving and you're thinking, what step are we on? So you can also find them in the show notes and you can follow the steps that way.
So stay with us. Let's make family life a little easier and fun. Are you ready to dive in?
I am. Let's get started.
Okay, so let's start with problem solving. This is a structured approach to resolving issues that arise in your family life. We're going to tell you the 7 steps, each critical to finding practical solutions. And then we'll explore the win-win negotiation side. So remember, this is about resolving conflicts with solutions that everyone feels good about.
Good-ish.
It's crucial for maintaining strong, respectful family relationships.
All right, so let's tackle the 7 steps because, when you walk through steps, when we give you sort of those things that will help you as a family to walk through a process, the reason that works is because it helps to train kids, but it also gives us a process to lean back on. So we're going to walk through the 7 steps of problem solving. And these are the things that you want to train the kids in, but you could even put this up on the wall in front of you.
Well, in training kids, but also training us as parents, because so here's the thing. Maybe you are already really good at this, but maybe you don't know how to break it down and explain it to your kids.
Oh, that's good.
Or maybe you also need to learn, or maybe you've never even known that this was available to you as a tool. So.
Yeah, that's really good because we're talking about solving problems. Problems come up in families. This happens all the time. This happens in my family. The problem will come up. And if I don't have a process for figuring out how to solve the problem, or I can't walk through that process, it actually can make it give me more anxiety.
Yeah.
Or I'll put my parent foot down.
Right.
So, you have a problem? Here, let me solve the problem for you. But we've always said this throughout our podcast, but also throughout all of our time as family coaches, that we are our kids' first and best teacher.
Yeah.
So we have to be able to teach them some of these negotiation skills, some of these problem-solving skills, not just because it makes it more peaceful in our family, but also because it makes it easier for them when they go out into the rest of the world.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, I always say that, like, our families are like our first practice of like living on the earth.
Yeah.
Like learning how we handle, communicate, relate to each other prepares us for how to communicate and relate to the other people that the other 7 billion people on our planet, right?
And it's also interesting because if we can teach them how to problem solve, like there are real steps to problem solving. We teach them how to problem solve. That's not just for like who gets to play with the Legos.
Right.
You know what I mean?
We're not going to be there forever.
Right. Or like what time do you have to be at? It's also how can I problem solve at work? How can I problem solve at school?
At a friend's house.
Yeah. In my other relationships. And so, yeah, that's really good. All right. So let's walk through the 7 steps. So the very first step, believe it or not, is identify the problem.
What?
Yes. I know it's shocking. So here's the thing about identifying the problem. We often think we know what the problem is, but let's say, for example, our child doesn't want to do their homework.
Right.
One of the ways that you want to identify the problem is you want to say, what is the problem from my perspective, from the child's perspective? And then if there's somebody else, like in this case, it might be like from the teacher's perspective.
Right.
You want to identify like what exactly is the problem from everyone else's perspective.
That's good. Then step 2, you're going to define how you would like things to be. So you're identifying the problem first, and then what do you want it to look like?
Yeah, like I want my kid to do their homework.
Yeah, because ideally, the child does their homework and they don't complain or fuss or procrastinate. Right. So then step 3 is you're all going to brainstorm solutions. So it's not just mom or dad or the adult saying, this is what you need to do.
Go sit down, do your homework.
Yeah,
right?
You're going to get everybody's insight and ideas.
That's really good.
So it might be setting a regular homework time in that example, or maybe you're going to create a reward system or breaking homework into smaller, manageable parts.
That's really good. I like that. Okay, so then, all right, so at this point, because we've come up with all of these different ideas, maybe there are several different ideas that we've come up with on the table. You want to evaluate the solution. So if your child says, well, the solution is I just never do homework.
Right.
I mean, then you have to evaluate each solution. Obviously, that's not going to fly when it comes to school. And so you want to make sure that you've evaluated. So think about like what the outcomes are and talk those through.
Yeah.
That's actually part of the training. What would it be like if we decided it's perfectly okay for you never to do homework?
Right.
What might be the outcome of that? And then once you've kind of talked about the feasibility of all of that, then as a family, you choose the best solution. This is why I was laughing in the beginning where you said, like, make everybody happy or most people happy. Not everybody's going to be happy. I mean, ultimately, the solution of should I do my homework is you're going to have to do it.
Well, because kids can be short-sighted. I mean, we can all be.
Yeah.
So what will make them happy at that moment is not to do their homework. Right. But that isn't really relevant if the consequences of that won't bring happiness.
Right. Especially when you show up without your homework to school tomorrow.
Right.
But I like this idea of like maybe it's a mix of a reward system and a structured homework schedule.
Right.
So you have to have it done by a certain time. And this is the reward if you get it done consistently X number of days a week. But that's all something that you're negotiating.
Or it might be, okay, you're going to start your homework at this time every day. But you might choose to break it up because maybe they've been sitting there for an hour and they can no longer function.
That's right.
Okay, take a break. We're going to break this down. We'll do it again after dinner or whatever.
That's really great. No, that's really great. And then really when you think about that, whatever it is that you decide that as a group.
Right. And then you put that solution, what you've come up with, to practice.
Yeah.
And once you've done it for maybe a week or 2, depending on what the situation is, but we're using homework, right? So maybe you put that homework schedule to practice for 2 weeks. And then you can see, hey, did this work? So you've assigned the tasks, they've done it. You maybe are the homework monitor.
Yeah.
They are the ones responsible for getting their homework out. You've set a timeline. And then the final step is review that solution.
Yeah.
Did it work or do we need to tweak it?
That's really good because I'm thinking in terms of there was when I was doing a lot of work one time for school for myself when I was working and going to school. One of the things when I was in college, one of the things that we were taught is the Pomodoro method. And this is really fun, friends, if you are not familiar with this, it essentially is a timer. You're literally setting a timer. And you can look it up. We'll put it in the show notes. But the idea here is that, for example, in this example, you might come back and say, the solution didn't quite work as well as we thought. And so it's okay to come back and tweak it a little bit and say, are there other things that we could give them? Did we tell them that 3:00 was their homework time? and we made them do it in the middle of a very busy kitchen with everyone out. Like there are some things that maybe it's not working. Maybe in this solution, we maybe need to change some things in order to make it work for them.
Yeah,
so that's really good.
absolutely.
And these 7 steps, this gives us a path. We can walk down the path. You can use the 7 steps for solving almost any problem you face in your family. So it could be like little day-to-day issues. It could be something really big. But the idea here is, A, we're teaching them. We're helping them to learn how to do it. B, everybody who needs to be involved is involved.
It has a voice.
Yes. It's not just about us saying, hey, here's what you're going to do, but it's us working together. The other thing, friends, this is the other thing that happens sometimes. We talk about this a lot as parents. We could parent hard. Go sit your butt down and get it done. We could parent hard. And we're going to get some outcomes that way. But we also have to think long-term outcomes.
Yeah.
And we want to think, are we teaching them? Are we training them? And this kind of thinking through, it's going to take more from us.
Yeah.
But the outcomes that they're going to be more likely to do what they need to do. We're going to stay in a deeper relationship with them. And we're going to get the outcomes that we want over time. That is going to take a little more effort on the front end.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such an important point. It's about collaboration. When we can work together as families to solve problem, it strengthens our bonds.
Yes.
We've talked about bonding a lot on this podcast. But kids are learning these valuable skills like empathy, communication, and compromise.
Yeah.
Skills that will serve them well even outside of our homes, outside of our family.
Yes.
And that's where the win-win negotiation really shines, because it's teaching us that conflicts don't always have to have winners and losers. It's not just about getting my way or the highway.
Right. I love that.
We're building mutual respect and understanding by focusing on solutions that we can all live with. So let's say your teenager wants to extend their curfew. The first step is to understand each other's positions and reasons. Your teen wants more social time.
That's true.
You're concerned about safety.
Also true. So that actually brings us to this place of like brainstorming solutions, because we have to think about, are there ways that they can get more of what they want, but we also get what we want?
Right.
So maybe it is, maybe we do extend their curfew, but they are getting a ride home from their friend's parent. Like, we don't want to be so hard that we say, this is what your curfew time is. Be home at this time, when it could have just, if we'd extended it, it could be just as safe, and maybe even safer.
Right.
And they're getting a little bit more autonomy, getting a little bit more independence. So it's important. Using win-win negotiation will help us to get a little bit closer to that.
That's exactly it. And then whatever you agree to, you want to formalize it and make sure that everybody has clarity. We want to avoid misunderstandings. And this also shows mutual respect by allowing them to prove to you that they can be trustworthy, instead of assuming that it's unsafe or not going to be what your worst nightmare.
Right. And we would not, we're not going to put our kids in the worst situations possible. We are going to ensure that their safety, that they understand, we understand. Of course, we're going to do that. But, this goes back to, remember when our kids were younger, we used to talk about this idea of saying no all the time. Remember
I was literally just thinking about
how we used to say all the time when we would tell our kids no all the time. And you and I used to talk about this, where we'd say, God, I feel like I'm always saying no. I don't want to always be the no parent.
Yeah.
I want to have a good balance of, is what they're asking me to do, it's not really going to always get to the worst outcome possible.
Right. Yeah. I've had a few situations recently where, like kids put you on the spot and they ask you for something and you're like, okay. And so one of the things I learned back then, and I've probably gotten a little bit better about implementing it, is instead of just immediately saying no, is, well, either let me think about that or let me talk with your dad and we will discuss it and then we'll get back to you.
My favorite is when the kids are like, do you really need to talk to dad? And I'm like, oh, because you think he'll say no.
But yeah, I think now that my kids are a little bit older, having them know that like when they want something to change or things have changed, they can come and ask, and they've learned the hard way. some people think it's better to ask for forgiveness instead of permission, but they've done that before and it did not work out well.
Not work.
So,
I forgive you, but there are consequences.
Yeah, they dealt with those consequences. And so now seeing the maturity in them to ask, it's been really good.
We're
able to establish like, okay, what do you want from this experience? What do we want from this for you as your parents? Okay, let's come up with some guidelines and we'll see how it goes.
One of my favorite days was when our youngest, this was years ago, when he first heard about win-win negotiation, and then he started using it on everything. And he's like, could this be a win-win moment? And I'm like, okay, well, let's hear what you got. And then I kept thinking, this kid's going to be an attorney, I swear. All right, let's talk about this across different ages as we're wrapping up this topic, because we want to make sure folks know that you can actually start, it could be about helping kids who have minor disputes. If you've got a younger child at home, maybe they are not sharing, or, you can help them use this with minor disputes. The more you can put tools in when they're younger that you can then use later on, the easier it will be. But you can also use this. We've talked about this in terms of like, what time they come home, but this could be about completing chores. This could be about any number of things.
Screen time, cleaning up. Little kids, like cleaning up the toys, having them see the value and why they want a clean space or why they don't want to step on toys or get broken or lost. And then, we've talked about several teenage examples. So to wrap up, problem solving and win-win negotiation are invaluable tools.
Seriously.
They help navigate all the things from toddler tantrums to teenage negotiations.
One of the things we'd love is to hear from all of you. Please comment, engage with us. We're really grateful that you listen to Good Friends, Strong Families. We're really here to support your journey to a stronger, more connected family. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a 5-star review and share it with a friend. You can join the conversation with us on our Instagram. Until next time, friends.